Hey guys, it's Zach, the perfect stage for Miami Misplays. I'm coming at you with the Eraserhead deck that I've built. Now, I think you're going to find this to be very powerful, controlling, and very manipulative when it comes over to attacks and blocks. Now, Eraserhead, let's go over him real quick. Unlike Kirishima that we went over in the last video, he's got 7 card hand count, but has 10 less HP. We're looking at 19 HP, meaning he is a lot easier to kill. But as a trade-off, I believe that he's been given one of the most, if not the best, abilities in the game. Starting off, before the game begins, add up to 1 copy of Erase from your deck to your discard pile, then shuffle your deck. That is an incredible ability. The fact that you get the main card of your deck added to your discard. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, what's good in the discard? For a second, it's Enhance ability. Discard 1 card. This attack gets +2 or -2 speed. So now you're controlling either your or your opponent's attack speeds. Then add 1 copy of Erase from your discard pile to your hand. And that's where it gets broken. Once we go over the Erase, you're going to see even more why this just doesn't seem fair. It's definitely going to be one of the more consistent and stronger decks in the meta. Then Response. You can commit after you play or block with an action, draw 2 cards. So not only does it not have to be Erase, any action card will allow you to draw 2 more cards, and that's on a block or when you play it. Now when you play, you're using it for its effect and can possibly draw 2 cards. That's not so bad, but you have to commit your character, and I do like the ability of being able to pick up Erase after every attack. Now, as for its committing ability, I definitely think it's best when used during blocking times to keep your hand count and gain additional blocks, as well as dig through your deck further for the following turn if you want to discard a card that you would have possibly drawn when you're drawing up to your normal hand count, and digging further. And then, of course, again, the being able to discard a card to add an Erase is just too strong. Now we'll get over into the action cards first and his main card, which is Erase, an action card. So, Erase. Erase is a 2-cost 5 check, and it says Enhance, remove, seal 1 rival asset or foundation. Now, I personally have not used the seal 1 rival asset or foundation because I don't like to remove Erase. I only play 3 copies. Cycling is a part of the game, and there was one time where I messed up and I had 2 to 3 of my Erases in my discard, and then I ended up cycling my deck and removing 2 of them. I lucked out though and was able to flip the last one right before I had died, literally just forcing difficulty plays until I pulled it out of my discard and was able to add it to my hand, and I did win that game. So it's a very powerful card. Now, getting to its actual effects. It has Breaker +1. So if you block with this card, it's going to actually make the next card your opponent uses either to play or to attack with cost 1 more. So it makes it harder for your opponent to move forward and continue attacking you constantly. And then the best part about this card, I was saving it for last, Eraserhead Response. This means you must have Eraserhead as your character card to trigger this response after an attack is played. Why is that broken? When an attack is played, before Enhance can be played, you get to play this card. So when your opponent plays an attack, before they have a chance to activate any Enhance, you can shut them down right there and stop their character card's abilities. Now, I think I just spoiled the card. So yes, exactly that. After an attack is played, your rival cannot play abilities on their characters during this attack. Discard this card from your card pool. It doesn't stay in the card pool, which is great because now you don't have to, and most actions don't, but you don't have to worry about, playing extensive difficulties when blocking. You play this card from your hand and it goes to your discard, which means now you can also trigger Eraserhead's effect to discard a card to add it back to your hand, give the attack -2 speed. You've already stopped your opponent from using abilities on their character card, which if we talked about in previous videos, that you build your deck around your character cards and their abilities. So stopping 2 things at once and slowing them down, and to top it off, it is a only 1-cost shield mid-block, meaning it's blocking any attack that comes top, middle, or bottom, and it's only 1, so it's the cheapest block you could play. The fact that I can search I search the card in the beginning of the game and it goes to my discard, and then I can add it to my hand consistently per attack, essentially, as long as I do not commit Eraserhead, is too free. It's too free. I absolutely love it. This is the number one and only reason to play the deck. I mean, it's the main reason to play the deck, but in my opinion, it's such a powerful situation on its own that I don't even think the rest of the cards matter. That's not true, but you could probably build Eraserhead almost any way, and you'll have a difficult time playing against it. Now, moving forward, I do play one other action. I do play Go Beyond. Specifically, Go Beyond is played in my deck only because, one, of course, it is an action, which means if I do want to commit and draw 2 with this, I can. I don't think I would, but I can. Now, this says enhance, discard 1 momentum, add 1 attack from your discard pile to your hand, remove the cards from the game. Now, or remove this card from the game. So it lets you pick up an attack from your discard and add it to your hand. You can do that during your opponent's turn, during the enhance phase, to add a specific attack that maybe has a type of shield you need. Personally, in this build, it's here right now because I do not have all of the higher rarity cards that I need to finish the deck off. So it's there to help me reuse some of those high rarity cards that either got milled or that I already used and maybe got blocked and went to the discard. Or we're went into momentum. You do discard a momentum. If you can keep track of your momentum, you discard that specific card, and then you can pick it back up. So essentially guarantees you that attack as long as it hasn't been removed or cycled out. That's about it. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of it because out of all other action cards I've found, it's a check for 3, and I'm not a big fan of that. I like to keep my checks at the maximum I can. I'm not even a big fan of 4 checks. But hey, some of the best cards do have 4 checks, and you gotta deal with it. So we'll move forward to the next card. Now we're gonna go over to the foundations, bread and butter of setting up your deck and your effects. Now for Eraserhead, I went into more of a Zero, the Tape Hero, and Lita, the Ingenium, Rush Hero, and so I kind of focused more on them than I did on Eraserhead. One, I don't have the Eraserhead Rare Foundation. It is a very powerful card. It does say that you can use it by removing itself and an erase and being able to cancel a non-character ability. So that means now in a singular turn, you can shut down a character card, shut down an ability from a foundation, and then at the same time lower their speed. As you can see, it's a very controlling deck. But I don't have that card, so we're not going to go over that right now. But that is going to be a build I want to plan out once I have those cards. So I'm playing 3 copies of Gotcha. Now Gotcha says response. After this card is committed during the enhanced step, this attack gets +1 or -1 speed, playable while committed, of course. So obvious or not, it's a 0 difficulty and a 5 check. So we already know we love those type of cards. Super easy to play, let you help build further on. But the response effect, being able to be committed, combos off with a lot of the cards in this deck that commit other cards to trigger effects. And then at the same time, we're manipulating speed, which is what we want to do in this deck. We want to control speed. Speed is how people define whether they're going to be able to block or to get their attack through. It's how we're going to make it much harder for our opponents to block, and then at the same time make it very easy for us to block, especially since we have an erase that we can pick up once per attack, essentially. Pick that up, have a mid block, so you could either guarantee a full-on mid block or half a block if it's a top or bottom attack, and then lowering their speeds because it's already a 1-cost shield to lower their speed even further to make it easier. And then of course it's a breaker. So again, focusing all around erase and Eraserhead's ability to manipulate speed. After Gotcha, we've got Tape. Now this also synergizes with Erase. This says you can enhance, flip, change the attack to a mid attack. Erase is a mid block and it's a 1-cost block, so it's cheaper. And again, constant blocking with that, always able to add it to your hand and get that breaker +1. Second effect is enhance, flip. If it's a mid attack, gets -2 speed. So now you can control other mid attacks that were already a mid attack, and maybe for whatever reason you couldn't lower your speed or your erases have been removed. Very powerful card. Now we'll get into Late Riser. Now Late Riser is a 1 difficulty 5 check. This has a 4 speed shield, A lot of people look at me and be like, why are you playing 4 of these? I get it's a decent card, but I don't understand why you would want 4 because you can't block with it well. Well, in this deck, you're going to reduce your opponent's speed to negative integers or 0. So to be honest, I'm not really caring too much about my shield's cost because I'm most likely going to be able to block. I'm dropping your speed infinitely. But we'll get into the response of this. Now, response, after this card is discarded from your hand during the enhanced step, this attack gets +1 or -2 speed. So there's that speed control again coming from this card, and you can use it to pay the cost for Eraserhead to pick up Erase. So now you can either drop your opponent's speed by 4 or increase your speed by 3 while gaining another card. And then Enhance, if you have played a combo ability this enhanced step, your attack gets +1 damage. So that means if I end up using an attack that has combo in it, I can also get +1 as long as I played the combo ability. Now, the next one is called Mediator. Mediator is a 3 shield, 1 difficulty, 5 check. Enhance, destroy your rival's attack. And I'm sorry, did I say destroy? Enhance, destroy. Your rival's attack gets -3 speed. If you've played an action card this turn, draw 1 card. So that means if you've played the Erase to stop their character abilities at the same time, you can destroy this, reduce that speed. Most likely, if you discarded a card 2 to re-pick up that Erase, now that is 5 speed gone, and you draw a card. So the draw card will also help cover for the card that you discarded. So technically, not only did you stay even, you most likely plus on a card. All right, moving forward, calling for backup. Now, calling for backup says enhance, flip, draw 1 card. If this was not the first enhance played, this enhance step, discard 1 card. So essentially, instead of drawing 1 card, you'll discard a card. Now, that's only really good if you have the late riser card, which minuses or pluses speed when discarded. If for whatever reason you don't have an Erase in your discard, you have Erase in your hand, and you just don't feel like playing it yet, it's another way to discard it. Honestly, the draw is probably the more important, but the discard is situational and can be used. It is a mid-block, so when we use tape to change things into a mid-block, we can also block with that card. But I think we're going to focus Erase. Come on. Now, we've got 3 Think Fast. I absolutely love this card. Now, it is a unique card, so sadly, I can only have 1 on field at a time, but it's a 1 mid-block. It's 2 difficulty, 5 check. And Enhance, commit 1 foundation, so it doesn't have to commit itself. It actually commits other foundations, which I find very useful because it is a very strong ability. And then I can change the zone of your attack, well, of my own attack. So that means now that I can change my zones from a top to a mid or a bottom. Essentially, if I've consecutively played 2 of the same, I most likely am going to want to stay that way. Or if I'm throwing a mid attack, I might just want to change it to an up or down to have that chance or option that maybe if I hit correctly, they can't block at all. Besides that, its second enhance just feeds into its own ability. If the zone of your attack has been changed, it gets +1 speed, +1 damage. So it already fuels its second effect by changing your own attack. Besides that, cards that combo with this is the, not tape, but I forget the other one. Where is it? Gotcha. Where it combos with the gotcha card of committing a foundation in order to trigger its effect to change my, directional attack. I now, by tagging gotcha, can also up my speed or down my opponent's speed. I mean, I won't combo with the down my opponent's speed because you're not playing an attack on my turn, but it combos off when I'm attacking, increasing my speed and making it harder to block me. Now we have Fulfilled My Duty. This card has slowly grown on me. I used to play it as a 1 of in some of my decks, and then it's grown to a 2, and now honestly it's just a 3 of. It says Enhance, Destroy, and the Enhance step. Straightforward, straight to the point, pretty much stopping your opponent from going off when they're playing an attack. Or if you're just trying to get some damage in, you can see that your opponent may have a foundation that could stop you from doing something or gaining your own enhances. Just go ahead and play that. Or if they have a way to commit, maybe lower your speed of your attack with one of their enhances so that way they don't die if you're trying to go for game. It's a great way just to stop your opponent. I love the card. I think it's great. If you're playing one of these 3 symbols, I think it should be in your deck for sure. Other than that, it is a 2 difficulty 4 check, and then it is an up shield for 3. Now we've got Natural Leader. This is a 4 of in the deck. Enhance, commit. This mid or kick gets +2 speed. So essentially we're just enhancing our own speed in our attacks if we have a mid attack, or if it's a kick, which you'll see most of our attacks are kicks. Now, I don't really care so much for that enhance. It's a secondary enhance. First enhance, commit, choose one rival foundation. Abilities chosen, abilities on that card chosen cannot be played for the rest of this enhanced step. Again, kind of like in ending the enhanced step, this will allow me to stop my character from stop my opponent from playing certain enhanced abilities during the enhanced step if I don't want them to. That combined with Erase, I can now stop their character card and that. Very good against decks like maybe Kirishima that bounce cards to their hand to pick a perfect block, or that also at the same time build, so it stops them from building with the Erase, and then at the same time now I can stop them from playing other cards that would bonus off of that. Moving forward, Heroic Lineage. Absolutely love this card. It's a double response card, and I'm a big fan of response over enhance in this game, just because you don't need a specific time frame to trigger them. So it's a 2 difficulty, 5 check, 3 shield at the bottom. Now response commit after your rival attack receives a damage bonus, gets -3 speed. There's that speed control I'm talking about, so we can always continuously keep blocking them. Now response commit after your attack receives a speed bonus, it gets +2 damage, and as you know, every single card in this deck is pumping up speed. So that means we're going to be able to get that +2 damage bonus, which is going to be great because if you notice, we don't play a lot of damage bonusing buffs. This is, again, a response, so it will trigger off of probably other enhanced effects as you trigger, so that way you don't have to wait after your opponent for them to maybe stop you from playing Lineage's effects. And that's about it for Lineage. We'll get straight into the attacks now. That's all that's left. So I'll start off with the 2 attacks that are probably the least synergy in the deck. But, you know, I need to make sure I'm playing a certain amount of attacks, right? So we can see them. Now, this is Expert Flurry. This is a combo attack, meaning if my previous card that I played was an attack, it does get combo enhanced, discard 1 rival momentum. So it shuts down and takes away some momentums. Now, those decks that only usually generate early game, maybe 1-2 momentums, but trigger decent size effects like Hardened Pummel, discard momentum +5 damage. It's very powerful against those type of decks. Things like Denki and Odoraka that build a lot of momentum really quickly, probably not the best card or the best enhance. I'm not too stressed about it. This isn't the focus of my deck. The second one is that enhance your next attack this turn gets +2 damage. That's the part I'm in for. I'm here to try and do as much damage as I can to my opponent, so being able to play multiple attacks is what I prefer to do. Now we'll go into the actual attacks of this game, or this deck. Binding Kick. Okay, sorry. Binding Kick. Now, combo attack. Combo enhance, discard 1 momentum. This attack gets +3 damage. So if the last card was an attack that was played, you discard the momentum, and you're increasing the amount of damage you would put. Now, damage boost is what I want because I've already got 1,000,001 cards that increase my speed. So I can pump this cards, and it's an up attack, so it's already great. You can only be blocked by top or mid attack, increasing its speed to probably 7, 8, 9 very easily, and then hitting you for a strong 7, maybe 10, 9, 10, depending on the other cards that I have out. This is just the beginning. It is a kick card and will combo with other cards that I'm going to show you. Now I've got Flying Thruster Kick. Now we're getting to the lead, and this is honestly the main portion of the attacks. So first, Flying Thruster Kick is a 4/3 check, 4 speed up attack again, and then another 4 damage. Now it has the EX characteristic, which gives it enhance, discard X momentum, and gain speed ×2 up for each momentum. So essentially, if I discard 1, I'll get +2 speed. If I discard 2 momentum, I'll get +4 speed. Now, its first enhances this attack gets +2 damage, only playable if this attack has received a speed boost. That's what our entire deck does. That's not going to be a problem. We can trigger that in speed boost anytime, giving it another 2 damage, pumping it up to about 6 damage. Then, Deadlock Enhance. This is when your opponent has 11 or more foundations. You're able to activate the Deadlock Enhance abilities. Now, add the top 2 cards of your deck to your momentum. Gaining momentum is free. Being able to trigger that with this card to increase its speed even further is even better. And that's it about this card. I'm not a big fan about deadlock abilities in general because I'm not, opponents, if they're good, they're going to know how to keep their foundations at 10 or manipulate them to make sure that my deadlocks aren't triggering when they have more than 10. Following, we've got Recipio Extend. Now this card, I like this card a lot. This is kind of what made me lead into the leader deck and into the kick style focus of attack damages. Now this is a 4 speed mid attack, 4 damage, 4 difficulty, 3 check. Enhance, your next kick attack this turn gets +2 speed, +2 damage. So again, we're getting that extra 2 damage that we want. If you notice from our last 2 kicks, they actually do increase their damages by 3 or by 2. Making them stronger already. So this, including onto that, will just make them into, like I said, 10 attacks, even maybe 11, 12 attacks. And then commonly with the amount of speed boost we can get, we can have a 10, 11 speed boost commonly. Now, its second enhance is just draw 1. Pretty plain and simple. I like that. I like just being able to draw 1 free card without having to discard a card or having to activate this enhance first. So it's just a nice, cute extra draw. And again, because it's focusing on a second attack, getting an extra attack in your hand is really good. Now, back before, in the very beginning of this video, if you remember, I talked about Go Beyond and how I play this card specifically because I don't have the other cards I'm looking for. And those 2 first attacks I told you I would prefer not to be in the deck because they don't truly synergize well because they're not kicks. Those cards would be replaced if I had more of these. So the first one is Engine Rush. Sadly, I only have 1. This says EX 1 and Powerful 2. So we went over EX previously. Powerful 2 is about the exact same thing as EX, but it is for the actual damage. So you can discard Enhance. It's a characteristic that is shortened for Enhance. You can discard X Momentum to gain Powerful or gain damage equal to the number next to Powerful, which is 2. Now, Enhance, commit 1 Foundation. If this attack is not blocked, draw 2 cards. There's that commit 1 Foundation again, which goes back to the gotcha of when I tap that card, I can give myself +1 speed. Then you have Enhance and this Enhance step. Now we've already talked about Enhance step can stop your opponent from playing certain things. This is a 5 speed, 5 damage already. Being able to trigger Enhance and this step is pretty powerful. And just throwing a 5 at them before they can play anything to drop or manipulate its speed or damage, especially when you're trying to go in for the finisher, is very strong. And then the last card I have is Recipio Burst. This is Lita's main card. This also has a speed EX ability to increase its speed, but this time it's an EX of 3. That's honestly, I think, the biggest EX I've seen. That's dramatic. 2 momentums that I discard instantly turn this into a 6 speed or add 6 speed to it. It starts off with a 3 speed. It is a bottom attack. I don't even think I play any other bottom attacks, so I can definitely catch somebody off guard if they're trying to use Deku's prediction for a mid or top attack. And then, of course, remember, I do have my Think Fast to be able to change its direction to a top attack if I've done 2 other top attacks and then I just want to run them down of their top attack blocks. They definitely can't block too much, especially in the later game, because the amount of speed boost that you give yourself. Following that, it does have Stun 1, which is Enhance. Your opponent commits 1 rival foundation, or your opponent commits 1 foundation. So that means, I'm also tapping a card on their side and making it even harder to block. Now it has a response, which I'm a big fan of. Response: after your rival commits 1 or more foundation, this attack gets this attack's enhanced step. During this attack's enhanced step, it gets +1 speed. So as a response to using stun, committing your opponents or forcing your opponent to commit a foundation, you're also going to get an additional 1 speed. Now this is the killer card of the deck. This card does say Enhance, discard 1 momentum. This attack gets X damage, X equaling the speed of this attack -3. So we already know that the EX has EX +3. We also have 1,000,001 speed bonuses. I think I've pushed this to 15, 16 speed. I can then activate its effect by discarding an additional momentum and boosting its damage by that amount. So it has 5 damage starting You take away 3 from 16, you're adding 13, you're hitting for 18 damage on this card alone. As you can see, if I had more copies of this card, games would probably be a lot quicker for me. Generally, though, the games do take a bit longer for me to kill an opponent, but as for surviving, I almost am always alive thanks to the erase and the manipulation of the speed. So that's Eraserhead. As you can tell, it's a very speed-controlled deck and also ability stunning deck at the same time. Thank you. Like and follow if you like more deck lists from me. I will be going over, I believe, Momo next and possibly Denki as my next 2 decks. Thank you for watching. This is the Perfect Sage from Miami Misplays. You have a good night.